Hi everyone, this is Arcadius and welcome back to Naval Creed. Today we'll be going over French battleships tier 8 through tier 10, mainly going over the secondaries. The secondaries did have a change quite a while ago at this point actually, where their 6-inch secondary weaponry did used to fire armor-piercing shells, but now that has been changed to high explosive shells. So you are a little bit weaker in terms of secondary power, but your ability to light fires is a little bit increased. So it is a big enough change that I figured it does change the playstyle of the ship just enough that it warrants another video. Now this only applies to tier 8 battleships like Bart, Gascogne, Richelieu, Alsace, Jeanne d'Arc, and France. So we'll be going over all of those battleships for the next few days and just showing you how their secondaries are. However, for Richelieu, I do actually run her as a full AA build. She has quite a bit of AA mounts, and she's actually like the third strongest AA rated battleship at this tier. I'm not entirely sure. Massachusetts and North Carolina are up there as well. But I run her with full AA and also with the gun reload booster. So in terms of secondaries, we have 3 triple 6-inch on the side, or on the stern, I should say, and then we have 3 twin 4-inch on both port and starboard sides as well. And those are our main secondaries. Now the 4-inch really don't do anything, and the secondaries, or the 6-inch ones, used to be really good with armor piercing. You could be able to citadel cruisers even at range, and they just work down cruisers and battleships alike. So let's toss her into a game and show you what she can do with high explosive secondaries. Alright, here ourselves a game. We have one carrier. We have King George V, an Amagi, a Richelieu, a Cleveland, a Hipper, a Nustrashimi, and a Kagero. Alright, so we're gonna toss ourselves into the game here, but it is update day, and I actually forgot to go over the update before the video, so let's do that now. There's not many changes, actually. There is one major change, and that is that the top tier British heavy cruiser, Duke of Edinburgh, or as I've renamed her, Admiral, is now out for review. Well, not review, but research, and you can play her now. I've had a few games in her. She's not terrible. I wouldn't say I had a bad game in her yet. I've always had games over 300,000 damage, but she doesn't exactly seem fun. I prefer Warrior or Black Prince over the top tier British cruiser. And even Drake, honestly, is a little bit better, or at least feels a little bit better. Her gun reload's really good with 12 9-inch guns. I mean, you can't really go wrong with that. And they reload in just under 10 seconds for me. But even then, it feels like forever and a day compared to ships, especially like Worcester and Des Moines and Nevsky, and even Minotaur. So she definitely does have quite a bit of reload. Her torpedo angles are really good. Her speed is decent, but her maneuverability is actually very difficult to work with. In fact, if you actually start smoking or using your smoke screen at full speed and you slow down, you will exit your smoke screen before your ship slows down enough to stay in the smoke screen. So you're pretty much just going to keep going out of your smoke screen, and you're going to be sighted or spotted going about like 10 knots or so. So you're going to be a very easy target. So you will have to slow down before you activate your smoke screen. So similar to how British destroyers work, however, it is not a British destroyer smokescreen. It's not a crawling smokescreen. Right, so we have a couple targets here. We're still waiting for a little bit better angle. The only really major change was that the Russian battleships, all 11 of them, or at least the texturing ones, are now going to be found in random games. So you may come across bot Russian battleships in game now. And so we are going to be able to go against them and see how other ships do against their armor. Also, very nice to see that. Alright, going back to this game here now that we are a little bit farther through. Gonna work over this Hipper a little bit. And you know what? We might as well rush in, because we are very good at that, and we're just slapping this hipper around. Let's see here. What are you, Cleveland? You have a Magi over there as well. Let's actually see if we can get a reload booster attack on a Magi here. We're gonna have our guns reload in about 7 seconds or so. Looks like there's some torpedoes coming in at me. 2 citadels immediately. That hurts. Where are my shells? Another citadel, and that Amagi is already almost sunk. You can see our secondaries are opening up on all targets. They are getting damage. It's just not going to be nearly enough, or as much as the armor-piercing ones. Got a citadel on this Richelieu. You can try and focus on the Kagero here with secondaries, but a lot of my secondaries are in the stern. So I obviously won't be able to use them unless I angle my ship like this. Where did all my shells go? Alright. Well, we are taking a little bit more of a beating than I'm comfortable with. Looks like we might be able to finish off this Kagero pretty soon, though. Let's see if we can actually get a shot at this Enterprise, or Yorktown as I've renamed her. Yep, got a Citadel. Nice. Alright, so once my guns reload, well, Bart or Richelieu is kind of angling a little bit too much for me to do anything there. Now, the secondaries, as mentioned, used to be really, really good against cruisers. If you got a broadside cruiser with your 6-inch secondary, armor piercing would be enough to Citadel them. And you just sit back and rake in the Citadels. You don't have that anymore, unfortunately, but you do still deal decent high explosive damage. And so it doesn't look like the carrier really enjoyed us shooting it. We're getting some air attack here, but so is the enemy Richelieu. It looks like we're going to take some friendly fire. See if we can finish you up through the superstructure. There we go. We are a full AA Richie, so we are going to be taking down quite a few planes. Let's see if we can get some shells into this Cleveland as well. Then we can go back and finish up this Amagi here. Yep, got a Citadel. Nice. Pop another heal. More dive bombers coming in. Let's see if this will be enough to sink Amagi. No, so I might as well just use a reload booster and get her over with. At least save the other 3 turrets. Remember, Richie has 4 turrets. However, they are 4 twin mounts in 2 quadruple mountings. So each main gun turret, even though it has 4 barrels, is actually 2 different guns. Right, and let's angle a bit more to avoid these torpedoes if we can. 7 over pence, didn't really need that. Let's see if we can go work our secondaries on this Cleveland as well. We're about to cap the base too. We're gonna take a torp? No, we're good. Oh, there goes the Cleveland, never mind. The Yorktown is behind an island. Oh, we're gonna take these torpedoes. Oh well. Only 1, that's fine. I do have health buffs and speed buffs applied as well, in case you couldn't already tell. Let's actually use a salvo of HE on this King George. See if we get a couple fires or so. We are kind of getting low on health though, but our heal should be up in a moment. We're shooting down as many aircraft as possible. dodging as many torpedoes as we can. HE did really good there. There's more dive bombers coming in and torpedo bombers. See if we can dodge even more. We got another fire on King George V. Alright, so we do have our last reload booster ready as well. So if she turns, we have armor piercing ready for her. This carrier really does like us. 3 fires. Ouch. Alright, so our secondaries are opening up on the King George here. But it's really not a good angle for armor piercing. But I don't really have a choice at this point, because I might go down pretty soon. I might be able to outrun the torpedoes, honestly. Alright, so we're just going to have to run away from the torpedoes really quick. We're going to load high explosive here. Well, there's more torpedo bombers coming in. Can't really do much about dodging those. There we go. Awesome. Send one last salvo or two towards the Yorktown here. And there she goes. Awesome. So that was actually more of a AA defense video than a secondary video, but you can still see that there is just enough of a difference. Let's see how we did. 248,000 damage, 4 ships sunk, 95 shell hits, 57 aircraft shot down, 6 citadels, 4 fires, 1 module destroyed, 1 capped base, 5 defended caps, and 120 secondary hits, 16,000 base XP, and almost 28,000 free XP. We did 16,000 damage in high explosive shells. There was a little bit that we did against the King George there. Armor piercing did 198,000, fires did 21,000, secondary battery did only just over 11,000 damage, which isn't really that much. We were getting a lot higher numbers when those were armor piercing secondaries. Regardless though, the ship is still just as good. We did take quite a bit of damage. A lot of it was from shells, believe it or not. Armor piercing was a lot, and then torpedoes, and then fires and floodings and bombs as well. But Richie is still one of the best ships at Tier A, honestly. Yeah, those secondaries are still good. They're not as good as before, but they're a lot better on destroyers specifically. And even on some carriers, but if you're close enough to a carrier, you might as well just use your main guns. Battleships, they're just going to shatter for the most part, unless you're at maximum range, which your secondary range is 5.5 kilometers. I think I might have the secondary cruise skill. Well, I'm working on it at least, to extend that. But even then, you're pretty good against destroyers, cruisers sometimes, and then battleships even less sometimes. Carriers, so you shouldn't be using them, but they're still pretty decent. And for ships like Richelieu, that's really all you have in the back of your ship. So you do have to kind of focus on those if you're running away from the enemy. Richie is still a very good ship. She is a prism ship, so you are able to get that free XP bonus. And still one of the best prism ships there is currently to purchase. So with that, I will wrap up today's video. If you liked the video, make sure you like and subscribe for further content, and join me tomorrow while we go over Gascogne, which is the next French battleship that we'll be going over the new secondary. So again, thank you so much and take care.